Well, hello, my beautiful Cappies. How are you, my Capricorns? So, my gorgeous ones, even though this feels like it might be an Aries month, I kind of feel like it's going to be your month too. Welcome, everyone. My name is Cindy. I am the modern day spiritual advisor. I use multiple modalities, including tarot and astrology and mediumship and all kinds of things to help you on your path. So, my gorgeous ones, we're going to do a little bit of astrology, and at the end I'll give you the tarot reading. This is a new spread that I'm doing here, and I am doing it semi-live, where some of you guys like to see me pick up the cards and stuff, so I figured I'd do it that way. So let's go over what's going to be going on with you Capricorns. I kind of feel like you're going to come into your own. It's going to be a rough couple of weeks in the beginning, but then I feel by the end it's going to be great. These things that you've been working on for the last 24 months, you guys are really coming into your own, and I'm really very, very proud of you. So we'll talk about what's going on, the major aspects of what's going on this month and the major energies for you Capricorns in April 2018. If you like what you see and you like this style that I'm doing, please comment down below and let me know. I like to hear feedback to see if I'm going in the right direction. I want to hear what you guys are saying. And also, if you guys are missing my dailies, I am doing the dailies on the community tab on YouTube. So if you go to the channel or anyone's channel, you can look up there where it says videos, playlist, and all that. It'll have a community tab. That's where I do all my memes of the general energies of the day for astrology. And I'm starting to do the tarot of the day too, where I explain the dailies. So go over there, check it out if you guys are wanting to hear dailies. So let's talk about April. Let's go over the highlights. We have this new moon in Aries that's going to be coming on. We have a full moon in Scorpio. You know, the new moon is about manifestations. I'll have that video in the description box below. The full moon is going to be in Scorpio. Aries is about going, getting things done, getting things started. Scorpio is that deep, going deep into your emotions and really understanding. But Scorpio is also really good in business, and this looks like your work, your self-identity, that's going to be a major prominent thing in your life this month. Mars is going to be running amok in your house, in your first house. Mercury, by the time this video comes out, I'm doing it on the 23rd of March, so we'll have gone into retrograde, but Mars will be going direct in April. Then we have Saturn and Pluto, the planet of transformation. And Saturn, you work well in Saturn because that's your ruling planet. They both will go retrograde at different times, but they're both gonna go retrograde until September. Saturn till September 6th, Pluto till September 22nd. Then we have Venus entering Gemini. And Venus, that's a fun place for Venus to enter. Gemini is that light, airy, talkative, but very inquisitive and explorative. So it's going to be a lighter energy about self-love, about self-beauty, about money coming in is going to be easier. And then we have Chiron that enters Aries. Now Chiron's going to enter Aries for 7.5 years. So I did a Chiron video. I'll put that in the description box below, or I'll have it at the end of this video. It kind of tells you about Chiron, what that energy is, and then moving from that and what you're really trying to understand in your Chiron, wherever it's placed, not just in your natal chart, but wherever it's transiting. So it's going to be transiting into Aries for 7.5 years. So you're going to be working in that house. So for you, 1, 2, 3, 4, that's going to be in your 4th house that it's moving into. So you'll be working 7.5 years with this Chiron. So things will be pushing your buttons. There'll be some old wounds coming up. But this is all to prepare you, because I feel like you're becoming the emperor or the empress. And then in the end, at the end of April, Neptune brings this beautiful ending to the new phase of life for you. And I think a lot of you are going through this new phase. Obviously, depending on your age, depending on your life cycle, will depend on what type of new phase you're going into. So this month is going to be intense. It's going to be life-changing. And it's going to be a lot about self-accomplishments as well. So let's talk about, we'll go over the days. like I said, Mars, Saturn, and Pluto are in your first house. So what's your first house? This is you, Cappy. This is you in your first house. Your first house is about your self-identity, what you think of yourself, your placement in this world. It's the goals that you give yourself in life. It's your health, your well-being, and your self-accomplishments. Those things that you accomplish and feel good about, because this is what you came here to do, right? That's kind of what that first house is about. So Mars, Saturn, and Pluto will be in there. Mars is going to be going back and forth between Pluto and Saturn, and so there's going to be some stuff going on. So this will be going on till mid-September, but remember, with each phase or each thing that you're learning and letting go of and understanding, that brings more opportunity, more space for you to be receiving your blessings. So on the 1st of April, it starts with a bang. You have Mars squaring the sun in your 4th house. So Mars squares the sun. Mars squaring the sun in your 4th house would mean that in your family, in your community, in your your home, with Mars squaring the sun likes to bring light out. Mars is the god of war. Mars is about ambition and drive and force, and so there could be something coming to light in your home life, or with your community. Maybe you've been neglecting them. Maybe you've been working so hard that you really need to spend some time with your family. This is the sun being in here is bringing that to light for you. And Mars squaring means that, you're trying to you're trying to sort of balance it all out. You're trying to balance your home life with your career life, your home life with your pleasure, your community. And this is the thing, Cappy. What you will grow to understand is that you don't have to do it all alone. When I talk about tarot cards, we talk about the Emperor, the Empress. They rule dynasties. They make dynasties. But what they find out and what they figure out in the end is that they couldn't do it on their own. It's because they involved the community. It's because they involved their family. It's because they allowed other people to help them. And that's how that big dynasty was grown. And that's kind of what you're trying to figure out now. Who to let go, who to bring in, who to grow with you. Like, that's what you're doing. And it'll be kind of, something will happen on the 1st where it'll kind of make that prominent for you. So moving on to the 2nd. The 2nd, Mars is speaking exact to Saturn. So Mars is speaking very closely to Saturn. So Mars is giving Saturn that push, that drive, that energy to really make those dreams, those things that you want to come true for you, really giving you that energy, that focus, that drive, that ambition to get that done. Mars, Saturn, has delays, wants to restrict you, but Mars is like forcing. And with them speaking closely together, they're doing it well. So you can find yourself very focused. You can find yourself very directed. And this has to do with your first house. So your identity. What are you going to take? What are you not going to take? Who are you going to allow in your life? What are the boundaries that you want? How do you see yourself in the next, 6 months? How do you see yourself in the next 3 months? How do you see yourself in the next 5 years? That's kind of what you're trying to, and those things that you saw, you're really working on them and bringing them in. Okay. So on the 11th, let's go to the 11th. On the 11th, the sun squares Pluto. So the sun is squaring Pluto. So Pluto is about transformation. I'm sorry, let me use this other cursor. There's 2 cursors going on. So the sun squares Pluto. Pluto is about this transformation. The sun is bringing that to light. So this has to do, again, with your family and your self-identity and the things that you're wanting to accomplish and the things that you're wanting to manifest and bring into your life. With the sun squaring Pluto, they're not having a very good conversation, but the sun is bringing to light your home life, and Pluto's wanting to transform you. Like, you are driven to do this thing. For a lot of you, it's like, I've done so much for everybody else, and I'm learning that I need to respect and love myself. And so that could be what's going on, that sort of balance between your community, your family life, your home life, like even yourself, even if you're single, like, I got to give myself time to be home. I got to give myself time to re-energize. I have to love myself. I have to respect myself. I have to put boundaries down. And Pluto is helping transform you to understand that there can be a balance in both of these. Make sense? So then we're going to move on to the 7th. Well, the 7th, sorry, moving back to the 7th. So the 7th is a great, great day. The 7th is a beautiful day for you. We have Mars trining Venus. So Mars is going to be trining Venus, and this is going to be happening in your 5th house. This is your 5th house of pleasures, creativity, love affairs. So for those of you that are single and ready and willing, you have a trine. Trine to me means opportunity, opportunity, opportunity. Venus is that planet that wants to bring you pleasure. Venus is that planet that wants to bring you love, self-pleasure. And so with it trining Mars in your 1st house, so sorry, let me see. Sorry about that. So with it trining Mars in your 1st house, and you see the moon is exact on Mars too. So that moon in Capricorn is going to make you really emotionally connect to what it is that you're trying to accomplish, about your identity, about where you're going, about what you're trying to manifest. And this trine means opportunity. Opportunity for negotiations, opportunity for new contracts, opportunity for in your 5th house of creativity, what you're trying to create from your heart. And with your 1st house being all lit up, you are speaking from your heart. So that trine means opportunity coming in. This is a great time for relationships for you. So if you have a spouse, or you have a girlfriend or a boyfriend, and you're trying to have them understand that there are times that you need to be away, or there are times that you need to do something, or that they can't treat you a certain way, this would be the day to be having that conversation with them. Okay, makes sense? Now we're going to move into the 14th. So the 14th, so on the 14th, Jupiter, see Jupiter over here? So there's a lot of these aspects that you'll be sort of, they're not going to be so prominent. They're still kind of there, and you're still kind of feeling them. But what's going to be prominent is this Jupiter Pluto sextile. So Jupiter and Pluto, this is going to be Jupiter and Pluto in your 11th house. So this 11th house is about, what's the 11th house about? It's about your networking. It supports your 10th house. And your 10th house has Libra right now. So your 10th house has to do with really negotiating, really understanding that you and them can have what you want, that there's a space where you both can agree on things. In your 10th house of career, your life purpose, and that. So it's being ruled by Libra right now. So the 11th house is supporting that. The Jupiter Pluto the Jupiter Pluto sextile means there's opportunity that can come in for that. So your hopes and dreams, money can come in from that, money from your businesses that you've been working on. And this again means opportunity will be there. Jupiter's trying to grow you in this house, help you understand in this house. And so with this retrograde going on, with this Mercury retrograde going on, the 1st half of the month is going to be all about redoing, reorganizing, amending. There's going to be some endings. There's going to be some things that you need to let go of, some people you need to let go of, the people that you want to let go of, some situations you want to let go of, some contracts you want to let go of. There's going to be endings or completions. So completing some things, letting them go. It's time to focus on something new. You've accomplished that. Again, this is in your 1st house of self-accomplishment, things that you really value, things that you work on and are trying to understand about yourself, right? So the 15th, Mercury goes direct. So when Mercury goes direct, all this planning, all this reorganizing, all this understanding, all this looking into the future and what do I want next and what's going on and how do I feel and what are my boundaries and all of that, that's the time from the 15th on to be able to put those into play. Take the actions needed to be done so that all that planning that you did, you can now put that into step 1, step 2. This is what I feel like I'm going to do here. This is what I'm going to do here. And so with Mercury going direct, you're going to feel that energy and that force. Okay. So on the 17th, let's look at the 17th. So on the 17th, Aries has the new moon. So this is going to be a powerful, powerful new moon for you. This new moon in Aries, I think it's like on the 16th to the 17th, or 16th, 17th, 15th, 16th, 17th. But this, because of the time period that I have this, it's into Taurus. But on the 17th, it's going to be in Aries. It's going to be a new moon. So new moons are all about manifestations. This is a very powerful, powerful moon because it's conjunct. It's with the sun. So it's going to be here. It's with the sun, and then it's also conjunct. So the sun, the moon, and Uranus are going to be conjunct. So on this day, something could come to light. Something in your family, something that has to do with your community, something that has to do with your home. So maybe you're trying to get a new home. Maybe you're moving. I could see some of you moving with this energy. If you've been working on that, if you've been trying to sell your house, things are going to be coming through. This is the sun. Uranus likes to shock and awe. Uranus likes to throw things in there, and your life can change like that with Uranus. So, but this shock and awe is to make you feel better. I mean, it shocks you and it awes you, but it's the change that you needed to liberate you. It's to help you feel better. So anything that happens with this day, understand that you're being guided, that this is what you called for to the universe. This is what you said you wanted. And so this is what Uranus tries to help you get to. This is what the sun tries to bring light on. This is what the moon helps you manifest. You got these powerful, powerful energies on this day. Okay. Also on this day, Chiron enters Aries. Sorry, it may be the 15th that Chiron enters Aries. No, it's this day. Sorry. Chiron enters Aries. I was looking at Mercury. So Chiron enters Aries on this day also. So as much as this could come to light, okay, as much as these opportunities, this shock and awe, this comes to light, this Chiron, it may not be right in the forefront, but it's going to begin. So there may be some things that you're needing to understand. There may be some things that you're needing to let go of. There may be some boundaries that you're needing to set. There may be some extra love that you're needing to give in this fourth house so that you can move on to your blessing, right? So, also on the 17th, this is when Saturn goes retro. So Saturn's going to go retrograde. Retrogrades are all about amending, redoing, completions, reorganizing. So with Saturn going retrograde in this house of yours, this first house of yours, this has to do with your family. I'm feeling like a lot of it has to do with the balance between you loving you having your home, you having your community, and also you being out in the workforce, you doing your life purpose, you really sticking to your guns and trying to manifest, whether it's money, whether it's people, whether it's relationships, whatever it is that you're working on in this identity house, okay? So, the things that you're going to want to ask Saturn during this retrograde is, what have I learned? How am I different? What have I applied, and what do I need to change to get to my goals? These are the things that you're going to be asking with Saturn in their retrograding. Now, on the 18th, let's move to the 18th. So on the 18th, again, the sun is exact on Uranus. So this can be an intense day for you. Like maybe on the 17th things are starting to come to light, and maybe on the 18th it actually happens. But this can be a really, really intense day, especially for you guys, because you're going to have to take the action. You're going to have to take the action because you said this is where you want to go, and Uranus is going to say, all right, let's go. And you may have been saying, well, I can't do that because this person isn't here, or I can't do that because this hasn't shown up, or I can't. And Uranus will make it show up. And so you have to like put your money where your mouth is when Uranus comes in. And the sun being on that means it shines the light on there, okay? So with Mercury being in this house, there could be a lot of communication going on about what you're doing, about how you're going to do it, involving your family, involving your community. This kind of depends on where you are in your chart or what phase of life. Pardon me. All of a sudden, pardon me. Okay, so let's go to the 19th. On the 19th, and I'm doing this in Pacific Standard Time, so that may be the reason why, you know, some of this you're not seeing like the exact points. So, on the 19th, the sun enters Taurus. So the sun entering Taurus, this person, this situation, this self-indulgence, this love affair of Venus, now the sun is moving into Taurus, into your house of creativity, into your house of love affairs, into your house of what are you doing? What do you want to do? It's sort of a check-in point. Let's look at what you're doing. Are you really, really keeping those boundaries? Are you really taking time for yourself? Are you really doing the things that, and not just reverting back to the habit of doing what other people want you to do, or doing, allowing people to take from you, allowing those boundaries to be, you know, crossed. And so the sun moving into Taurus for 30 days is going to bring light into that situation, into those situations. So this is about you tweaking. This is about you really setting forth those goals, really setting forth those boundaries, and really backing them up and not changing your mind, because this is where you said you wanted to go, right? And so because you have Venus in there too, again, this is about your pleasure. This is about your creativity. And when Venus enters a house, and this is your house of love affairs, it's going to make you look beautiful. And Cappy, you already look beautiful. You have this natural, gorgeous light to you, but this is going to be intensified in here. So as Venus is in this house for you of love affairs, you could be very attractive to other people. Very, very attractive. Okay. So, on the 22nd, this is when Pluto goes retrograde. So Pluto is going to go retrograde till September 22nd. So April 22nd, with Pluto going retrograde, this is also, so this month for you is about those things that you've been working on, those things that you said you wanted, those things that, those relationships, those boundaries you said you were going to set, the not allowing people to take advantage of you. This is Pluto. When it retrogrades, it's going to help you transform and really say, I'm taking my power back. This is who I am. This is not what I'm going to allow. This is what I'm going to allow. So with it going retrograde, you're going to be, these are things that you've already been working on. This is not anything new. This is just redoing, reorganizing, amending, completing. Because when you set your foot down sometimes, there are people that are like, no, I'm not going to take that anymore. But that's because maybe they were taking too much from you, and now they don't like the fact that they can't take anything from you, right? And so that's what this is going to be about for you. Mars being in there is going to really give you that force to do that. So good for you, Cappy. Very good for you. Now, we're going to move to the 24th. So the 24th, pardon me. So on the 24th, Venus moves into Gemini. This is a lovely, lovely, lovely place for Gemini, for Venus to be in Gemini. Things become lighter, airier. The 6th house is your daily life. So some things that you've worked on in the beginning of the month here are really setting into stone, into your daily life, into your daily activity, taking better care of yourself. Venus is going to be highlighting this for you. Venus is going to be helping you make that grounded into this lifetime, and really putting forth those pleasures and reminding you that you should love yourself and that you should always speak from your heart, and that you don't always have to do what everybody else says just to make peace. Like, you matter as well. And Venus is in Gemini in your 6th house to help remind you of that. Okay. So, I feel like at the beginning of the month, it's going to be more about you putting these things into place and keeping these things into place. And maybe you have to have some arguments, and maybe you have to have some discussions, and maybe you have to let go of some people, and maybe you get some new people, and maybe you get those contracts, and maybe you get noticed at work, and maybe all that hard work is coming to fruition. But by the end of the month, you're really, really going to see where that's happening. You're going to understand that the universe does have your back, that spirit does have your back, that your angels, God, source, oneness has been listening, and they are trying to get you there. They are trying to get you where you said you wanted to go. So, on the 26th, this is when Mars goes exact to Pluto. So Mars is exact to Pluto, so they're having a real close conversation, right? So this is where you're going to understand about how to use your power. So this can be a really, really, could be a stressful day, could be a kind of intense day, but this is a day where you're really focused, really determined, really getting things done. But this is all to help transform you in your identity, in what you say you value, in your purpose, in your place in this world. Okay, so that could be an intense day. But on the 29th, we have, yay, we have the sun. So we got big aspects here. On the 29th, we have the sun trining Saturn in your 1st house and in your 5th house. So the sun trining Saturn means opportunity, 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 which means it's sextiling your moon in Scorpio, and we have a full moon in Scorpio. So those things that aren't being able to be completed, those things that you weren't seeing clearly, with the sun trining Saturn, it's bringing light, it's going to bring it reality, it's going to bring things to fruition. On that day also, Jupiter is conjunct the moon. So these things that you've been working on in your 10th house, I see where it's coming. See where it's coming through. Sorry, your 11th house, but it supports your 10th house. So these things that you've really been delving deep. Do I want people in my life? What type of people do I want in my life? What type of networking do I need to do to bring forth those things that I'm trying to do in my career? Financial abundance can come through here. Financial abundance can come through this house where Venus is. And financial abundance can come through this house where you're working steadily and hard in, because you've got Mars, Pluto, and Saturn in here. Okay, so financial abundance is not a hard thing for you to have this month. It may look like in the beginning that it's not going to happen, or that it's getting really hard, but you know what? You've done this for 24 months. You got just a little bit longer to go, and then it's just going to start exploding. I know a little bit has come through, but this is really the time where it's going to be like really in your face, and things are really happening, and things are really moving forward. And maybe that house that you couldn't sell all of a sudden gets sold, and that car that you couldn't find, all of a sudden you can find it, and the car that you didn't have the money for, all of a sudden it comes in, and it's really abundant. That's what I see for you guys. So also with Jupiter conjunct this moon, I can see where, because it supports your 10th house, I can see where, and you've been working in it, you've been understanding it, you've been trying to figure it out, you've been really learning about it, about how other people work, about how you're going to work in your life, career, and your purpose. And so I can see where you're gaining authority. That's Jupiter. You're gaining the respect that you deserve. You're finally getting noticed. Like, I can see that happening. And even if you own your own business, this could be a great day where people see you, where people help you understand. And let me say this: if you're a Capricorn and you work in the media, you work in the entertainment industry, you work in in writing, blogging, vlogging, any of that. When Jupiter enters in here, you could get increased funds from that. You're looking beautiful. People are really attracted to you. They really want to hear what you got to say. They really want to see you. So I can see where you're learning here, where you're getting this stuff done, where you're getting manifestations, okay? And so the last thing is the 30th of April. So on the 30th of April, 30th of April, Neptune sextiles the sun, not trine. So Neptune is going to sextile the sun. So this is a beautiful, beautiful aspect. Sextiling, remember, to me. And there's also this sextile here. So let's look here. So right here, like about, so I have this timed at 12 Pacific PM, 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So this is an opportunity here in your North Node and Venus. I can see where you're getting stuff, getting finances, getting things are clearing up for you. Things are moving forward for you. So you have this sextile, you have this sextile, and then Neptune is going to sextile the sun. So Neptune sextiling the sun. So if you look, this is your first, second, third house of communication. This has to do with what I was just talking about. If you're in the media or vlogging, or maybe you're trying to get a contract, maybe you have to go into discussions and negotiations, any of that. So with it sextiling here, people are, I can see you really getting opportunity to have those things come forth. So it's going to put light here in your creativity, your house of creativity, your house of love affairs, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. And then you have Venus here in your 6th house. So I can see this month where you're sort of, things are coming in. Maybe you're getting some delays when Saturn has, Saturn's been working really hard or making you work really hard. But I can see where you are getting those things come in. You are able to make the movement, and then you see some of the benefits for you. Finally, it's starting to work. You know what I'm getting? I'm getting that finally, it's starting to work like it used to. Where you used to say you wanted something, you would go after it, and then it would come immediately, right? This is what it's going to start to look like for you in the next 2 years. It's back on track. It feels like this energy that you can move through, gain things. All you do is put some effort into it because you're not afraid of hard work, and then it just sort of comes through easy, and you're not left wondering, why didn't it come through? Why didn't these things happen? What's going on, right? So we also have this trine here with the sun. So Saturn trines the sun. So this has to do with you. So let me say this to you, Cappies. As long as in this next month you are speaking from your heart about you and loving you and understanding you and being respectful to you and being responsible to you. I know you have other responsibilities, and I know you have other loved ones in your life, and I know that you care deeply about those loved ones, or you wouldn't have them there. But as long as you are taking care of you, you are going to be receiving manifestations this month. That I can tell you. But the second you start reverting back to that habit, Saturn's going to come in, Uranus is going to come in, Pluto's going to come in, Jupiter's going to come in, and they're going to remind you this is not what you're wanting, and you're reverting back to the habit of not taking care of you. Now, you've worked too hard these last 2 years to understand who you are, what it is you want, what it is you deserve, your worthiness, and then your responsibilities. You've worked way too hard to undo this stuff now. So pay attention, and when you don't know what to do, remember, think of you first. Right now it's about thinking of you, because for so long you have thought of others. Remember, when you're talking about putting energy into the bank, putting money into the bank, putting, those things in the bank, you've done that for so long. It's time to receive those things. And this is about you allowing yourself to receive them, you being worthy enough to receive them, you understanding your value enough in your place in this world to receive those things, because nobody's standing in your way but you. Remember that. Okay, my beautiful ones, I love you, love you, love you. Okay, so bear with me. I am going to make this bigger so that you guys can see it. Okay, so this spread is a little different than the one I usually do. This is your present position starting in the month of April. This is your challenge. This is the faded stuff coming in. This is the stuff, doesn't matter whether you believe or not, doesn't matter what happens, doesn't matter. This is coming in for you. And then this is the outcome, okay? And I will pull a card for advice for each one of those. So your present position, it looks like starting in the month of April, you have the Fool. You're right at 0 point energy. You got a lot of energy. You just have to say where you want to go. You just have to remind yourself and love yourself and remember, this is what I want. This is what I'm working towards. So what if it didn't work out in the past? It's going to work out now because this is what I've been calling, right? The 0 point energy is a great place to be. This is about transformation. This is about moving ahead, knowing where do you want to go, right? This energy couples where you want to go. So this is 0 point energy, which means 0 point energy means you can go wherever you want to go. You just have to direct it. Okay. So their advice is to make a decision. Don't get stuck in not making a decision. Don't get stuck in reverting back to, well, they're doing this to me, and this person, I can't believe they did this, and I thought this was going to go this way. And so then you're stuck in the middle, right? Not making a decision. So go back to that 0 point energy, and their advice is to continue to make the decisions that are in line with your heart, in line with your creativeness, in line with your self-worth, in line with you. Make those decisions and you can move forward, right? Because this energy is here for you. You just have to direct it. This is exactly what I was saying about the Fool, 0 point energy. You have to direct it. You have to make a choice. You have to make a decision. Now, just because you make a decision doesn't mean that you're not going to be able to have those other ones come in. It just means right now you got to make a decision. Okay? So, this is your challenge. So your challenge is the Palace of Swords. So it looks like maybe a lot of you were in your head. It looks like at this time you'll be thinking, trying to plan, trying to see things out of the box and understand. You're more mental. And that's a good place to be if you don't stay in that, because you can get overwhelmed in that and then not make a decision. Okay? And so their advice is to help get you out of that is to remember when it gets overwhelming. This is the 10 of Swords. When it gets overwhelming, when you think you can't handle it, the universe, God, source, oneness, your loved ones, your angels, your guides, they're not asking you to do it all at once. They're saying take one step at a time. Do one thing, and then the next thing, and then the next thing, and then the next thing. But don't even think about these things. Just do the one thing. Make a decision about the one thing, take an action, and do that. And then when that's done, then look at the other stuff. Because guess what? You're worried about, well, if I don't look at the other stuff, then it gets neglected. But you've been neglecting it anyway by not taking an action and just thinking about it. So don't waste time. Do one thing and then the next thing, because it's in those things that you clear and understand and get through and make a decision about that turns it into manifestations of what you're wanting. It allows your body to take in more energies of the dreams and the hopes that you're really wanting to manifest. Make sense? So this is the faded stuff. This is the destiny. This is the stuff that's coming in. You have the Ace of Cups. So for those of you that are ready to love, for those of you that are ready to love romantically, or to love your job, or to love your life purpose, or to move into a new phase, or to love your family again, whatever this is, you have new beginnings. You have new beginnings, new beginnings, new beginnings, and then it's up to you, because the cup is empty. It's a start, but it's up to you to put your energy into that and fill that cup. Okay? And so their advice is the Ace of Wands, sorry. And the Ace of Wands is just what I said. You got to take an action. You got to be passionate about it. And don't take the action, Cappy, because you think that's what you should do and you think that's what is good for everybody else. You have to take the action about what you want to do, about how you come first. Because if you're depleted, then you're no good for anybody else, right? So you have to stay energized. You have to love yourself. So take the action. Come from your heart. Come from your passion. You have new beginnings all over the place this month. New financial reward. I see you as the emperor, the empress coming into their own. I see you working with your family, working with your community. I see manifestations coming. So don't neglect you. Yeah. Okay. And so the last card is the outcome for this month of April. You have the 8 of coins. So I see you steadily working. I see you doing a good job because you're a Capricorn. You always do a good job, right? I mean, I didn't have any reservations at all about you doing the work. So it looks like those things that have been delayed, those things that have been by the end, the things that weren't coming through, the things that are delayed, the situations that are delayed, the things that you feel like you're having to work too hard for and it's just not coming through. Like back in the day, you used to be able to do it easier, but now it's a little different or a little harder. I feel like by the end, you're going to feel that you're working intently on the things that you're wanting to work on. And remember, you're at an 8. To me, in the tarot deck, the 9 is completion. The 9 is when you receive all those benefits, when the things come through. It's the 10 where you're actually enjoying those manifestations, but you're looking to the future. But you're almost at a 9 with these projects. You're almost at a 9 with these love relationships, work situations, contracts, these things that you've been working on. So you'll be working intently, and their advice is, by the end, you working intently, there's going to be some things that they're going to be heavy. They're going to really make you make a decision. You're wondering if you're going to win at this or gain from this, and you will, because the 10 of Wands gains. It just takes a lot of force, and it takes a lot of moving through and letting go. And I mean, look at this person. He's bowed. He's got all these experiences, all these wands, all this passion, all this experience that he's gone, and he's having to carry that with him, and it's a heavy load, but he does make it. Okay. So a lot of you have a heavy load, but you're going to shine through. And what you do, just continue to have the passion for it, and that comes through. It's got to come from your heart. That is the thing I'm hearing from Spirit. It's got to come from your heart. It can't be doing for others first. It's got to be doing for you first right now. Okay? All right, my gorgeous ones. If you liked what you see, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Be sure to catch me on IG daily and on the community tab on YouTube daily. I will have all the videos that I talked about with Chiron and retrograde and all of that. I'll have that in the description below, or right here on the side here. Okay. I love you, love you, love you. Bye.